Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Jeez, it's hot. It is hot. This isn't part of the plan, but it's actually really, it's a sunny autumn day. So that jacket's coming off. In today's video, I want to talk to you about and expose the 5 shocking and dangerous side effects that your doctor isn't telling you about hormonal birth control, the pill. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, it's not a light and fluffy video today. Before we get into today's video, if you have chosen to click on today's video, especially if you're on hormonal birth control right now, or if you've ever been on hormonal birth control like myself, I just want to first take the time to appreciate the fact that you're here right now and applaud you. It's a scary thing, and I'm really happy that you're here, willingly here to listen to the points that I'm going to be talking about today, because it's a lot. I want you to keep this in mind as we go through today's video. Please keep this in mind as I talk to you about the points today, that knowledge is power, and I am in it right now with you. And as I've learned these things over the last 7-8 months, as you may know, I'll have the videos linked. I did go off hormonal birth control, and I am still very much in the process of battling my anger, my frustration, my disappointment, and if I'm being completely honest with you, my regret in being on hormonal birth control for so long. So if you are someone who is on it or has been on it, I just want to say first that I applaud you for being here in today's video and being willing to listen to what I'm about to say and talk about. It is so easy to turn a blind eye, and it's so easy to not think about the things that we do on a daily basis that can build up over time and affect our lives in certain ways. We're just gonna jump right on in there. We're gonna talk about painful sex and the clitoris. The risk of developing vulvodynia, which is basically just pain in the vulva area, is significantly higher in women who are on hormonal birth control, have ever been on hormonal birth control. It has been shown that hormonal birth control are associated with a decrease in the tissue surrounding your vulva. And studies have shown that it can shrink the size of your clitoris by 20%. I don't know many men who would be comfortable with taking a pill every day that shrinks their genitals by 20%. But I digress. So it basically shrinks the size of your clitoris and decreases the thickness of your labia minor and vaginal opening. One study measured the effects of combined hormonal birth control on 21 females over the period of 3 months. Not only did participants experience a significant drop in both their estrogen and their testosterone, they also experienced a decrease in the thickness of their 2 inner folds. They also experienced a reduction in the diameter of their external opening of the vaginal canal. Not only did participants report more painful sex, they also reported less frequency of intercourse, less orgasms. Last year, when I was feeling quite depressed, I was feeling quite anxious and just quite unsettled, I went back to a doctor to get a mental health care plan. I was hoping to get a mental health care plan. They are quite hard to get. Doctors are very quick to want to give you antidepressants and give you pills before they give you a referral and a mental health care plan to see a psychologist. But anyway, I digress. The doctor who I saw, who was a female, who I explained that I also was experiencing low libido, instead of suggesting, because I did mention that I was also at that time thinking about getting off the pill, instead she was very much insistent that no, you should stay on the pill, and was instead trying to persuade me and kind of open my eyes, I suppose, to the idea of antidepressants. She also instead recommended that I put on some sexy lingerie, light candles, things like that, as if I hadn't already tried or thought of that on my own. It is heartbreaking to me that these are things that are not better studied, more discussed. Point number 2, I'm going to touch on nutrient deficiencies. Studies have shown that folate, folic acid, is significantly reduced in women who use hormonal contraceptives. Fun fact that I didn't know, there is now also a pill on the market that was created by the same drug company that created Yaz. Shout out if you have any experiences with Yaz, because I certainly did, and it was a wild ride. The pill in question is called Yaz. They have cleverly marketed themselves as a pill that raises folate levels for reducing any risks of pregnancy defects. Vitamin B6 is another one. We're going to touch on this more in my next point, but I just want to say that the pill drastically increases your need for vitamin B6. It also increases your need for zinc, selenium, phosphorus, magnesium, and coenzyme Q10. It also increases your need for vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin C. I guess you could say on the flip side, it does raise your levels of calcium, iron, cadmium, and copper. This is something that I know from personal experiences, I touched on it in one of my hormonal birth control videos, but I had extreme levels of copper in my body. And if you don't know, there is a correlation between anxiety and high copper levels. I can now say 7 months off of the pill. I have just been recently retested and I am almost so close within normal range of normal copper levels. So my body was able to readjust. It did take 7 months, and it did take the use of what's it called? Molybdenum? I'm gonna have it linked. Following on from that point, I wanna touch on brain chemistry, anxiety, and depression. One study has found that putting young girls between the ages of 15 and 19 on hormonal birth control drastically increases, I think it's somewhere between 2 to 3 times their likelihood of being put on antidepressants compared to girls who aren't taking the pill. The pill significantly changes your brain chemistry. Serotonin is a neuralistic transmitter that actually mediates things like optimism, satisfaction, happiness. And you can supplement vitamin B6, but the funny thing is, it's actually not that funny. In order to supplement enough of what is depleted from your body because of hormonal contraceptives, you're going to need anywhere from 25 to 50 milligrams. That is 20 to 38 times the recommended daily allowance, which is nearly an increase of 4,000%. This next one is actually quite shocking, but it has to do with choosing your partner. Hormonal birth control can actually play a role in you choosing the wrong partner. As you approach ovulation, you're more likely to prefer and be attracted to certain men based on their smell. Your genes influence the way that you smell to others and the way that you perceive smell. When you cycle naturally, you are more likely to select a more genetically diverse partner. You are more likely to select a partner with more masculine features, face, voice, behaviors. However, when you take hormonal birth control, studies have shown that you are more likely to be attracted to partners with a similar genetic makeup to you. Since hormonal birth control changes your hormonal cycle and interrupts your natural menstrual cycle, the natural process that governs your pickers is interrupted by the pill. And when you are off the pill, I know this may seem crazy to some of you, but when you are off the pill, studies have shown that you are actually more attractive to men. And this is something that I can vouch for. Again, this is something in the beginning that I started to wonder, is this just a crazy coincidence? But the more months that this happened, I honestly began to believe that it was not a coincidence. There is a specific moment in my cycle that I believe that I am more attractive to men. And just in general, I have never had this much male attention. It's crazy. And the first month that happened, I was like, this is a coincidence. But then the more months that went by, I honestly don't think it's a coincidence anymore. It's actually insane. Okay, I go to the same fruit and veg shop every week. And without fail, certain times of my cycle, I have more male attention by the men working there. And these are the same men that I see week on, week out. And these are weird things I've experienced. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Port Douglas with my family. I was in Queensland. And my nephew is like he's a hype man, okay? He's a hype man, maybe unintentionally, but he is a hype man. And I was, again, in this particular phase of my cycle. He was telling me every guy that looked at me was like, Kaylin, he looked at you. I think that man over there liked you. I think that group of men over there liked you because they're looking at you. We went to a specific place for dinner. That's the bathroom is located near the kitchen, and he came with me to the bathroom, and he was like, the chef. Oh my God, the chef likes you. You will pass. And he was like this. It's all in this particular phase of my cycle that these things happen. It is insane. So if you are single and if you're on the pill, just humor me and consider the possibility that you may be more attractive to men when you're off the pill. The next thing that I want to touch on is more of a smaller point, but it's just something that I want to pose to you as something to think about, because I think, again, this is not something that's discussed. When doctors, a lot of the time when they recommend hormonal birth control, they kind of sell it as this thing that can just make your life better and pause your fertility, put on hold a natural process that takes place in a woman's body, so they can focus more on career or other areas of their life. And I just want to pose this to you, something to think about, because again, this was never something that was explained to me. Granted, I did go on the pill when I was 15 for acne reasons. Now looking back, think it is the most ridiculous reason to go on hormonal birth control, but again, I was none the wiser. It's what we thought was the right thing to do. I think a lot of women, like I once did, saw the pill as something that, you could just kind of put your family making plans on hold, put them on hold and just kind of like pick it back up when you and if you so choose to. If and when you ever want to have children, you just stop taking the pill and you can get pregnant. And I just want to pose this to you because I think it's something that was never explained to me. It's recommended by certain doctors that you have at least 18 months to 2 years of getting your body back to a healthy, hormonally balanced range after you quit contraceptive. They recommend like 18 months to 2 years to kind of get your body back in alignment. I would hate for women to get off the pill at say 33 and decide they want to have a child, and then they can't fall pregnant, and maybe it takes 2 years to balance out their hormones, but by the time they get to 35 it is maybe that little bit harder to conceive. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying factor in 18 months to 2 years. I've been off hormonal birth control for 7 months, and there are things that I am still dealing with, there are things that I'm still trying to balance, and there are things that I'm still trying to be patient with that are really frustrating, and I'm trying to remain positive. This is 7 months on, so please consider that window of time where it's going to take your body to heal itself and balance itself out as best it can. So the last point that I want to touch on, I've actually decided that I'm actually not going to really talk about it because it is quite a tricky, it's quite a sensitive, and it's quite a heart-wrenching topic. When I read the studies and the findings that I read, it was really hard. It was really hard to see the findings that have come out with long-term hormonal birth control use. And as someone who used hormonal birth control for a long period of time, it's quite a hard pill to swallow, no pun intended. So instead, if you are interested and if you are brave enough to further fall down this rabbit hole, I'm going to just share some of the books that I read and have been reading and would recommend. So this First Up Woman Code, look at this, okay? You can't even see it, but I had to look, defacing the book. God, my nana would kill me. She would kill me from the grave. I hate this, okay? It makes me so uncomfortable. I do not like to deface books. I'm not a page turner, which is why I instead then went ahead and got sticky notes. In the Flow is another one. I love that one. This is my recent read, The Fifth Vital Sign. Highly recommend that book. And these are just some others that I picked up that I will be at one point reading. And if you'd like to join my unofficial book club, you know, feel free to join me. I bought The Hormone Cure, but Beyond the Pill. We've got Taking Charge of Your Fertility. I think I'm going to read this one next. This is Period Repair Manual. This was actually recommended by a few of you. So thank you so much for this recommendation. This was a really heavy video, I'm well aware. I have really strong thoughts. I have very strong, this is probably a disclaimer that I should have put in the beginning, but I have very strong thoughts and opinions and feelings about hormonal birth control now. And I think it kind of shows in this video. If you're on hormonal birth control right now, or if you're in the process of getting off of it, I really appreciate you being here, and I hope that this video was helpful to you. Thank you to you who watches, who subscribed, who still interacts with my new content, because it really means a lot to me, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to interact with my content. Thank you so much for doing so. I will see you in my next video.